People often ask us, is Efteling the Dutch Disneyland?
Today we're going to give you an answer. We're going to compare Efteling to Disneyland Paris. My name is Jolanda.
And my name is Joost from Dutch Theme Park Network. Let's dive in.
To clarify, we're going to compare Efteling to Disneyland Paris and both parks, the Disneyland Park and the Studios Park, because Efteling and the Disney parks are roughly the same size.
We'll give you the similarities and the differences before we give you our conclusions. Both resorts are a multiple day destination. You can easily spend 3 days in both resorts.
Both resorts are for the entire family. So you can enjoy with your small children, with your teenagers, and of course we as adults enjoy it too.
And when you look at the structure of the parks, both parks have a castle in the middle and both have a train around the park.
Also, the Disneyland Park has a big hotel right above the entrance, and
Efteling is building one right at the entrance of the park.
And both parks have lands or realms, basically the same.
You can say Disney does this way better than Efteling, and that's because Disney is designed in these lands.
Yes.
And the Efteling grew organically.
They went to Disneyland and thought, hey, lands is a very good idea, and they decided, we have our park now, let's put lands together and squeeze it a bit, but they are designing it now more as lands, but it's still not
smaller land, thematic worlds.
Yes.
Another similarity, both have hotels and other places to stay on their own property. So you can book your complete vacation at Disney or at Efteling.
And in Disneyland Paris, you can basically walk from every hotel to the park. And it's the same with Efteling. There is a small bus that drives around.
For Loonseland and Bosrijk, and the hotel has his own entrance to the park. And of course the new Grand Hotel is right inside the park.
But you can easily walk.
And I think you can say both resorts have really high quality standards. They really go the extra mile for their guests to give them magical opportunity.
Both Disneyland and Efteling are about well-known stories, fairy tales.
And of course you can compare a lot of attractions to each other. For example, if you see Pirates of the Caribbean in Disney, you can say it's Fata Morgana at Efteling, you see the teacups in Disneyland, and you can see Sirocco at Efteling. It's quite similar ride types, quite similar attractions.
The carousels and Space Mountain is Vogelrok. So you can put a layer on all the attractions and think, hey, they're kind of similar, but they are really, they are not one-on-one copied like in Europa Park. Mm-hmm. That's an whole other video. There are their own attractions, but you can compare them.
There are differences. For example, Piranha at Efteling, there's no such attraction at Disneyland, but Efteling doesn't have a Tower of Terror. But you can see some similarities, and I think this is what we say, you can enjoy the complete a day with your whole family in the parks.
Maybe you can compare ride types most, like Ratatouille is Symbolica. Yeah. They're completely different attractions, but the ride type is the same though, so they feel
even the same builder of the attraction.
Yes.
And last but not least, both resorts have their own evening show. Of course, Disney has its fireworks with Dreams, and Efteling has Aquanura, a fountain show set on the music of the park. And I think that are the most important similarities between those resorts.
Let's go to the differences.
Let's dive into the differences.
Biggest difference, price. We've just stayed a fabulous weekend at Disney, 2 days, 1 night. And we paid the same for an Efteling stay, but we stayed 2 nights and entered the park for 3 days. So the prices are different.
It is quite a difference. Efteling is way cheaper than Disneyland Paris. And also a big difference is that Disney is doing his souvenirs way better than the Efteling. We bought way too much souvenirs.
We couldn't choose, but at Efteling you can basically easily choose. They have less high-end souvenirs, so they have like pins and postcards and tins and puzzles, but the high-end souvenirs Disney does.
Way better, way better.
The clothes as well.
But Efteling does some things better as Disney as well. For example, Efteling has way more playgrounds. In Disneyland Paris they have Pirate Cove, and I believe it's closed for over 5 years. And Efteling has several playgrounds. They have Nest, they have Kindervreugd, Kleuterhof, there are Archipel. There are several playgrounds where you can let your children just have some free time on their own.
Blow off some steam. Yes.
Blow off some steam. And I think that is something that Disney misses.
In comparison, Disney lacks nature.
For sure.
Efteling is a nature park. You walk between the birds. There are squirrels. There's a lot of tree coverage. So it's also very good on warm days, less concrete, and it feels different.
Summer at Disneyland Paris isn't that fun. It's a really hot day. There is not that much shade, and you will have a really hot day.
Because there also aren't any water rides. Efteling has one water playground, one water ride. So there's
two water rides if you take the Flying Dutchman in,
yes,
where you can get wet or at least make a splash.
Yeah.
I think Efteling is more sustainable for the heat. Another difference is that Efteling dares to depict the dark side of stories. Of course, at Disney you have the dragon under the castle, but most of the time Disney is about the happy feeling, the happy end, and Efteling dares to depict most of the fairy tales in the fairy tale forest at the most darkest part of the story, just before it gets better. For example, Red Riding Hood in front of the door of Grandma's house with the wolf inside of the bed.
Hans and Gretel are captured and locked up. Mm-hmm. The wolf outside of the seven goats while mother goes away.
Just before he enters the house. So I think that's quite a difference. You have to be prepared for that, I guess. Know that. Nothing really scary, nothing to be afraid of. But it's another way to tell it's different way to tell the story.
Another difference, Disney has more food options, more
For sure.
food experiences also. Efteling has, of course, restaurants. They have Paul's Kitchen and they have Ravelijn, and there is theming there. Mm-hmm. But Efteling does it +1.
Mm-hmm. Disney does it +1.
Disney does it +1, yeah.
Disney does it +1. For example, a buffet like Pim's Kitchen, where they have giant hot dogs and really tiny hamburgers. They really add some experience to the food. Remy's Bistro, you have the buffet at Palace Garden in the Disneyland Park. I think Efteling can upscale this. By the opening of the Grand Hotel, we know we will have 2 extra restaurants. One will be a buffet, one will be a table service restaurant.
Let's hope they add some theming on some story.
Let's hope so.
We don't have only Ravelijn has a story. The other restaurants at Efteling don't have a real story.
But on the other hand, the food in Efteling is way more healthier. Yeah. You can have yourself a sandwich, you can have a salad, and that's way harder to find in Disneyland.
You can have greens and veggies and fresh soups, so you can have your vegetables, and at Disney they're harder to find.
Mm-hmm. They are there, but you have to look for it. Yeah. Another difference is that Efteling has 2 paid theater shows. To say it that way, one is really a theater show, Caro, and the other one is Ravelijn. It's a dinner experience with some kind of theater around it. Disney used to have the Buffalo Bill show, but they cancelled that at the start of Corona, and now it's completely disappeared.
To be fair though, Efteling needs it, because most of the times Efteling will close at 8, or even when low season they close at 6. So you need something to do at night, and Disney stays open much longer. So you have less need for
Efteling. Disney is open every day until 9 or 10 p.m. Efteling closes between 6 and 8 p.m. So indeed they need the evening show. And that's the difference. In Disney there's a lot to do in the evening. You have Disney Village with shops, with restaurants, with bars. You don't have such thing at Efteling. You can stay at your cottage in Bosrijk of Loonse Land, and of course you can go to the bar in the Efteling Hotel, but something as they called Uitrijk, something compared to Disney Village, would be nice in the Efteling, where you can go to the cinema or do something at night.
To be fair though, Efteling is more centered in populated areas, so
Yeah.
you, in 10 minutes you are in the city of Tilburg, and Tilburg has a cinema, has a very vibrant city life with a lot of bars, so it is there, but not in a vibe, in a theme park vibe.
Yep. And I think we also, and I think that's the last difference we name, is of course Disney depends on quite famous characters. We all know the IP of Disney.
You all know Mickey Mouse.
We all know Mickey Mouse, we all know Winnie the Pooh, we all know Lion King. You won't find these characters at Efteling. They have knights, they have Red Riding Hood, but actually, who knows Pardoes or the television series about Pardoes?
You will know them once you spend a couple of days at Efteling, and then they're fun characters, they speak English. A lot of characters talk to you, so that's different with Mickey Mouse. Like Red Riding Hood has an interaction with you, and Thomas the Knight has an interaction with you. But you have to have seen Ravelijn to understand his story and his character, and that's a difference.
Yeah, that's a difference for sure. But I don't know which one is better, because the characters of Efteling are well done. If you once know them, they're fun. I still love Pardoes at the hotel in his PJs.
Pardoes and Pardijn don't speak, but the Sandman, for example, does speak. So there are non-speaking characters, but I think Pardoes and Pardijn are the only one, and the others all speak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those are all face characters.
Yeah.
So that are the major differences between Disney and Efteling. So let's jump into conclusions. What do we think? Is the Efteling the Dutch Disneyland?
I think it's fair to say it's a fair comparison. If you look at the overall, they're both themed attraction park. They both have based heavily on fairy tales and on storytelling, theming. And I think both parks have inspired each other. Disneyland has definitely inspired Efteling. Yeah,
you can have a magical time in both resorts with your complete family. So I think it's fair to say Efteling is the Dutch Disneyland.
You can really get away, escape like at Disneyland.
Yep.
And Efteling as well.
And we would love to hear, do you agree with us? Did we miss some similarities or differences? Let us know down in the comments. We would love to hear from you.
And if you want to talk to us directly or hear the latest news, then please join our Patreon community. We'll link it in the description.
And if you become a Patreon, you will get yourself the Ultimate Guide to Efteling and the Ultimate Guide to the Keukenhof ebook. So, if you like to get up close and personal with us, go over to Patreon and support our channel. I think that's all for now. So, see ya!
Dat kwartje, joh, ik ga het